Government National Mortgage Association, Ginnie Mae, a government-owned corporation within the U.S. Department of Housing and the Urban Development, which is HUD, that guarantees securities backed by mortgages that are insured or guaranteed by other government agencies, popularly known as Ginnie Mae. Government survey, a method of specifying the location of parcel of land using prime meridians, baselines, standard parallels, guide meridians, townships, and sections. Graduated lease. Graduated lease. A lease which provides for a varying rental rate, often based upon a future determination. Sometimes rent is based upon the result of periodic appraisals, used largely in long-term leases. Grant, a technical legal term in a deed of conveyance, bestowing an interest in real property to another. The words convey and transfer have the same effect. Grant deed, a limited warranty deed using the word grant, or like words that assures a grantee that the grantor has not already conveyed the land to another, and that the estate is free from encumbrances placed by the grantor. Grantee, a person to whom a grant is made. Grantor, a person who transfers his or her interest in property to another by grant. Gross lease, a lease in which the lessor pays all costs of operating and maintaining the property and real estate taxes. Ground lease, an agreement for the use of land only, sometimes secured by improvements placed on the land by the user. Group boycott, an agreement between members of a trade to exclude other members from fair participation in the trade. Habendum clause, the to have and to hold clause which may be found in a deed. Headers, local horizontal structural elements used in a wood framing to span doors and windows. Highest and best use, an appraisal phrase meaning that use which at the time of an appraisal is most likely to produce the greatest net return to the land and or buildings over a given period of time. That use which will produce the greatest amount of profit. This is the starting point of an appraisal. Hypothecate, to pledge a thing as security without the necessity of giving up possession of it. Implied agency, agency that exists as a result of actions of the parties. Implied contract, an agreement that has not been put into words but is implied by the actions of the parties. Income capitalization approach, an appraisal method applied to income producing properties, which involves a three-step process. First, the appraiser must find the net and annual income. Second, an appropriate capitalization rate or present worth factor must be set. Finally, the appraiser must capitalize the income by dividing the net income by the capitalization rate. Independent contractor, a person that provides services to another under terms specified in a contract or within a verbal agreement. Insured value, the value of an asset or asset group that is covered by an insurance policy, can be estimated by deducting costs of non-insurable items, example, land value, from market value. Interest, the charge in dollars for the use of money for a period of time. In a sense, the rent paid for the use of money. Interest-only loan, a straight non-amortizing loan in which the lender receives only interest during the term of the loan and principal is repaid in a lump sum at maturity. Interstate, a person who dies intestate, a person who dies having made no will, or one which is defective in form, is said to have died intestate, in which case the estate descends to the heirs at law or next of kin. Investment value, the specific value of an investment to a particular investor or class of investors based on individual investment requirements, distinguished from market value, which is impersonal and detached. Involuntary alienation, the transfer of title to real property as a result of a lien foreclosure sale, adverse possession, the filing of a petition in bankruptcy, or condemnation under power of eminent domain, or upon the death of the title holder, to the state when there are no heirs. Involuntary lien, a lien imposed against property without consent of an owner. Joint tenancy, undivided ownership of a property interest by two or more persons, each of whom has a right to an equal share in the interest and a right of survivorship. For example, the right to share equally with other surviving joint tenants in the interest of a deceased joint tenant. Joist, horizontal timbers, beams, or bars supporting a floor. Judgment lien, a legal claim on all of the property of a legal claim on all of the property of a judgment debtor, which enables the judgment creditor to have the property sold for a payment of the amount of the judgment. Junior mortgage, a mortgage recorded subsequently to another mortgage on the same property or made subordinate by agreement to a later recorded mortgage. Lally columns, rounded columns that serve as a structural post, typically found in basements and are made of steel or iron. Land, the materials of the earth, whatever may be the ingredients of which it is composed, whether soil, rock, or other substance, and includes free or unoccupied space for an indefinite distance upwards as well as downwards. Land trust, a legal agreement where a trustee is appointed to maintain ownership of a piece of real property for the benefit of another party. Law, the system of rules that a particular country or community recognizes as regulating the actions of its members and may be enforced by the imposition of penalties. Lead, a material used in lead. Lead is a material used in pipes and paint of many older homes. We now know that lead is hazardous to health. The local Environmental Protection Agency should be consulted for guidelines on handling removal and applicable laws. Lease, a contract between an owner and tenant settling forth conditions upon which the tenant may occupy and use the property and the term of the occupancy. Leasehold estate, a tenant's right to occupy real estate during the term of the lease. This is a personal property interest. Legal description, a land description recognized by law, a description by which property can be definitely located by reference to government surveys or approved recorded maps. This is the end of glossary terms, real estate glossary terms, part 1. Part 2 is coming soon.